Hi, this is Jim Cranston from 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com, the podcast and website about reimagining your life. Thanks for joining me today to talk about goals. So let's get started. If you like what you hear today, please leave a like, subscribe, tell your friends, send me a message. Thanks for joining me tonight to talk about goals, but special goals because they're just for you. If you're watching a replay, this is being recorded on March 18th, 2025. As you may recall, there were many important but distracting things going on in this time frame in the US and worldwide. We won't talk about all the events other than the war in Ukraine, which we do every week, but the likelihood to get distracted from our own personal goals is quite large. And when that happens, we tend to feel very stressed and overwhelmed because all the things that are important to us and our plans are being disrupted. Now, obviously, world events are very important, but one of the dichotomies or dilemmas in life is that we all have to live in kind of many parallel spheres or parallel paths at one time. You may be concerned about the politics or the news, but that doesn't mean you still don't have to feed your family or your pets or pay the bills and all the other things that are part of life. And just that situation is often a source of a large amount of stress in many people's lives. And this is also where goal setting is so important. There are internal and external events that demand our attention, but we have to be careful about worrying about the external events that in reality we're not going to act upon. Recall that we recently put up the website where you could find your congressional representatives, for example. That was so you could reach out to them and act on your own behalf or have them act on your behalf for situations that were important to you. Or stated another way, that action was consistent with one or more of your personal goals. And now we can see the tie-in between goals and reducing stress and avoiding overwhelm. If an external event is truly important to you, then it should be one of your personal goals. If it's just a distraction that you aren't going to act upon, then you should try to set it aside until it becomes one of your important goals, or it just isn't important in your life. So how do we set goals? You may recall we've talked about SMART goals in the past, and actually we have a slide for that. Um, a little bit small, but there it is. I hope you can see it. And the SMART goals, they're specific, they're measurable. Oh, and there's my mouse. They're measurable, they're achievable or actionable, they're relevant or the reach, and they're time based. And so, again, specific goals, and that's something that is very defined. So, not a general goal like, oh, I want to go on a trip. I want to take a trip to some place at some point. They're measurable. So you know when you actually got there, I want to lose weight. No, I want to lose 10 pounds. So if you're at 9 pounds, you didn't quite reach your goal. If you're 11 pounds, you exceeded your goal. They're achievable. You can't say, if you're a small person like me, you can't say, well, I want to lose 200 pounds. Or, if you're older, like a lot of my listeners, you can't say, well, I want to run a 4 minute mile, probably. If you can, more power to you. But they have to be achievable and actionable. It has to be something that you can really act upon. They have to be relevant, but somewhat reach. So a relevant goal is something that, like we said, it has to be something that you can actually attain. And a reach goal, though, is maybe you can't run a 4 minute mile, but maybe you can run a 6 or 7 minute mile. Something that's possible, but not easy to do. And they have to be time based. In other words, there has to be a deadline saying, well, I'm going to make $1,000, 1,000 extra dollars. Well, if you give yourself the rest of your life, who knows when you're actually going to get around to making it. So I want to do it within some particular time frame. So that's it. And we'll get that slide touched up and a little larger, but available for you at some point in the next few days. And an effective goal contains all those elements. And we're not going to try and cover all of them tonight, but we'll do this in 2 or 3 episodes. Tonight, we're just going to focus on just the first item, which is specific. And a lot of people make their goals essentially impossible to complete because, well, they never really define what the goal really is. I mean, you wouldn't take a trip with, say, well, I'm going to go to a trip. Where you go? I don't know. And when after the trip, did you get there? Well, I guess I did. And it's fun to do something like that every once in a while where you don't really have a goal and the experience is the goal. But if you actually got planning to take a trip, you have to have some idea where your destination is. So imagine your goal is to make more money. You're your imagination, you're imagining you're going to retire to a beach resort. And so when your boss offers you a 25-cent an hour raise, well, technically you've met your goal. You're making more money. But that isn't really what you wanted at all. A few more dollars a week isn't going to get you to a beach resort to retire on. So the problem, obvious here because of the example, is that we didn't set a specific goal. It was a very general goal, an open-ended goal, where we could, at almost any point, either declare victory or say the goal was not really attainable because we never actually defined what the goal really was. And you can put together many similar examples. I mean, I want to lose or gain weight. Well, how much? I want to have time to myself. How much? How often? When? There's a lot of examples like that. The common theme in all of these is it's a general statement, and we can never determine when we've actually attained our goal. And while it sounds, very obvious here, how many times have you heard somebody say, oh, I want to lose some weight, but then complain because they didn't reach the goal? Or, oh, I want to take a trip. Where are you going to? I don't know. Well, it's take a trip to the next town. They kind of, in one sense, have attained their goal. Or they get the trip of a lifetime that's still kind of attaining their goal. And you have to put some sort of specificity in there, something specific so you know you actually reached it. So the first and very important step of goal setting is to be very specific about what you want to attain. I want to lose 15 pounds. I want to increase my income by 20%. I want to travel at least 1 month each year. I want to volunteer overseas for 6 months in a row. Whatever it is, you have to bound that goal so you know you actually attained it. Because otherwise, your mind doesn't know what to do to get you there. If you give it a nice set of criteria to work for, remember, we talk about this a lot, your mind will figure out how to make it a reality. If you say, I want to volunteer overseas for 6 months in a row, well, it's not going to be looking for opportunities that are only 1 month or opportunities that are a minimum of 2 years. And it's going to be on the lookout all the time for something to help you reach your goals. That's why they have to be specific. Your mind is very creative. It'll remember people who can help you or remember situations that can help you. But if you don't give it anything to work with, there's nothing it can do. Each of these goals has to be a very specific goal. And it's very easy to see when you've reached it then, because you either have reached what you said you're going to do or you have not. And you also can tell when you're making progress towards your goal. If you don't have a specific goal, you can think you're making progress towards your goal. It's very easy to fool yourself. But in reality, if you say, well, I'm going to take a trip, I want to go on a trip next year, and you start looking up things and looking up, places you can go and all this other stuff, you can say, oh, I'm working on my goal. I'm working how I'm going to take a trip. But if you never get beyond that step, now you're never really any closer to taking a trip than you were if you hadn't done any of those things. So your very first step is to make a very specific goal. Now remember, the other SMART steps, and we'll put that slide up again, is, once I find where my cursor is, right? The other SMART steps are they're measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. All these steps taken together, they kind of play together with the specific requirement to make your goals into a powerful tool to help keep you on track towards your vision. And carefully crafting your vision is, of course, a whole important and different topic, and we'll cover that another time. But even before you have your final vision defined, you usually have some things that you want to accomplish. And SMART goals are very effective, even if you haven't defined your vision yet. And we'll talk more about that when we get back together next week or the week after. Because SMART goals are really just one step of the whole process of kind of recreating and re-envisioning your life. You have somewhere you want to go, you define the steps, how to get there, you follow along, and you see if you're actually making progress. But for tonight, I just wanted to focus on the very first step in staying on track. And, in reality, it's kind of a complex world. It's filled with lots of distractions, and it should help you. Good goal setting will help you start on your journey towards reducing stress and overwhelm and replacing them with actionable plan customized just for you to help you feel more in control and to be sure you're making progress on the things that are important to you. So that's it for the evening. your homework tonight is to think about some of the goals, big or little, that you may have made for yourself. Then think if they were specific or general. And if they were general, how could you make them into something that's a very specific goal that you know you attained and you have a real path to go towards. Now, extra points, if you revisit that goal and imagine how you could tell if it was really reached. What was the target? How would you know? When would you know? And this will give you a head start on some of the next steps for next week's. So thank you very much. Please remember the many wars in Ukraine and many areas of the world. There's a lot of political and social unrest going on all around. Please check out our updated page of links, ukr7.com. Those are places where you can donate to support the people of Ukraine. There's also things going on in the Middle East, Africa, a lot of different places. And there's worldcentralkitchen.org. We talk about them a lot. They operate throughout the world. Anywhere there's a disaster, usually one of the first people on site, and they help get very basic services and food going for people. Great organization, Chef Jose Andres, and WCK.org, and like I said, UKR7.com, both good organizations. But these organizations locally, no matter where you are, usually there's people working to help other people in need. And so if you don't want to do a large multinational, international organization, there's things locally. And if you're just not in a position or a mindset where you want to donate right now, remember, one of the best ways to care for yourself is to care for others. And that can start with something as simple as a smile. And so you just see somebody, you look like having a rotten day, you look like they're having a great day. Make their day even better. You don't have to go around looking for everybody to be miserable all the time. You just see somebody say, hi, good morning. And because a lot of people have, kind of the public face on, but inside they're not very happy. And just getting a smile from somebody can make their day a whole lot better. So if you can and you're able, please support one of the sites, ukr7.com, wck.org, or just say hi to somebody and just make their day a little bit better. As always, thank you for stopping by. If you found something interesting and useful, please pass it along. Please subscribe, hit that like button. If not, please drop me a comment as to what you'd like to hear. Have a great week. Remember to live the life that you dreamed of, because that's the path to true contentment. Love and encouragement to everyone. See you next week on 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com. Thank you.